It has emerged that lack of one source of wildlife data has adversely affected conservation efforts in all game parks and ranches. This emerged when the Principal Secretary for Wildlife Sylvia Museya and senior government officers toured the Naivasha-based Wildlife Research and Training Institute on a fact-finding mission and a tree-planting exercise. Addressing the press, the PS termed the institute as very critical in conservation plans, adding that the government was keen to support it. She, however, noted that despite the critical role the institute played, it has been ignored and was in a sorry state due to years of neglect and underfunding.
They have a serious need to build and refurbish what there is here, and they also have satellite campuses for the different ecological zones. There is need to build afresh and even refurbish what there is for both the marine centers in Malindi. I think they have another one at Savo, they have one at Kisumu. So it is a young institute. It was commissioned officially last year in July 2021. So it is at tethering stages. If we can help them get it right now, we are looking at another many years of prosperity within wildlife conservation. And just to mention that data-driven decisions is the way to go for the country. And this is a premier and the only government institution on wildlife conservation.
Museya termed data as very critical in conservation efforts, adding that this would help the government in planning and addressing challenges facing wild animals. She further added that the government had put in place various mitigation measures, including water tracking and supply of hay to thousands of wildlife affected by the drought.
At least I'm proud that they did a proper census and they mapped out the effects of drought on wildlife. Released a report in November, end of November. That report was launched in a major way. The president is aware of the situation. There has been some interventions done. There's been some water tracking, provision of hay. They have done a bit of water pans, digging dams. Much more needs to be done. And a lot of that also needs to be done so that we are prepared for the next major drought season. You realize that climate change is a major issue concerning both human beings and wildlife. A lot of effort is put in human beings, rightly so, because of course human life is very sacred. But we forget that wildlife is a major, as human beings we also have the responsibility to take care of wildlife, one. And number two, that tourism is the second GDP earner in this country.
On his part, the director of the institute, Dr. Patrick Omondi, said that the process of coming up with a national wildlife database was on course. He said the institute would provide wildlife data annually, adding that in the past, stakeholders and donors had to rely on uncoordinated data. Omondi welcomed the planned funding for the institute, noting that this would go a long way in training their students and embarking in various studies around conservation.
All the ongoing research, be it on wildlife tracking using technology, we'll have one national database portal based here. You want to know how many elephants the country have? This is the institute to come. How many rhinos? This is the institute. Not everybody will provide numbers to the cabinet secretary and to the PS.
On the ongoing drought, Omondi noted that the wild beasts were the most affected, adding that the country had also lost tens of young and old elephants.
So we already post the national census last year. We already updating numbers, and the PS and CS will be releasing the status, for example, at the end of the year of the rhino population, which is performing well. So ours is data, and one of our priority is to establish this national wildlife database. And the other priority research programs we'll share.